just like you can say, just like jQuery. Just like jQuery, React is a library. What is specialty about React is, what is the major specialty about React is, React will work with virtual DOM. So not with direct actual DOM. Features I will tell you. We will discuss about the features, right? So React is a JavaScript library, and it is used for building building UI. Actually, React was originally introduced by Facebook. Facebook introduced React. So Jordan Walke. So he introduced the concept of React. He developed this library for single page applications. So, but what is the difference between Angular and React is, the main difference is Angular can work for model, view and controller. But React works only for view. No model, no controller, only UI. React works for view. So React.js is a library which works for only view. That is important. So React works only for view, right? Yes. Now, another important point you need to understand is actually React.js was not designed for our requirements. React.js was designed by Facebook for its internal use. Actually, React initial release happened in 2013. Now the latest version is in 2020. We have 17.0. That is the latest stable version. We are going to learn that latest stable version. But one problem is React is not designed for what we are using. That is the reason. The problem with React is it have limited library. It have very limited library. React.js requires several external libraries to integrate. And handle the functionality. React requires several external libraries. That means what library provided by React is not enough for building application. We need to depend on a lot of third parties. But our developers treat it as an advantage only. Why? Because now developers have a choice of using different libraries and integrate and use in his application. Instead of using only the library that they provide, we can use several third-party libraries. That means developers have a wide choice. But what is specialty about React is, means what are the features of React.js? The main feature of React is actually React uses virtual DOM. It uses virtual DOM that makes the user experience better. That means faster interactions. So React uses virtual DOM. What is virtual DOM? Already we know DOM, document object model, we already learned. Actually, so usually browser have the DOM, the actual DOM. Browser have the DOM. DOM is a hierarchy we already know. So browser is having a DOM, document object model. It is having a DOM. So browser is having a DOM. So by default, it is having DOM, document object model. Browser is having the DOM, document model. Now, what is the point here is when browser is having the DOM, our JavaScript and jQuery, and even Angular, all these directly interact with this DOM. So if they are directly interacting with this DOM, then to affect in the main browser, it will take some time. Adding element, removing element, it will take some time. And the response comes back to the client. So that response time will be slow. But now, what is the speciality of React is, it will use an virtual DOM. It will use an virtual DOM same to the actual DOM. It will use an virtual DOM same to the actual DOM. And it will handle all the user interactions on that virtual DOM. What is advantage is immediately that result is sent to the client, but later it will update in the actual DOM. It will update in the actual DOM. That means user will see the output immediately. User will watch the output immediately. That means it is faster in experience. But actually in the background, it will update later. So it creates a duplicate DOM and it handles all your interactions on that DOM. It handles all the interactions on that DOM. That is what actually the intention of React. So React uses, so this virtual DOM. This is one of the main feature of React. So interactions are very faster interactions. It will interact faster. And another option is React uses JSX. What is JSX? I will tell you. Which is easy to handle the manipulations on DOM element. JSX is like a language syntax. It is a language syntax so that it can easily handle the interactions and make the interactions faster. That means logic and markup can be defined in one file. It is easy for creating templates. So it is easy for creating templates. So that means the advantage of this is it makes the interactions more faster than anyone. That means generally JSX means, I will tell you. Suppose we have a heading or we have a button. For button, we need to write a functionality. So generally a functionality and some options. Generally we write like on click is equal to some functionality it should happen. Now you generally write a function and this function is separately configured and handled. Now what JSX is nothing but it provides a facility to embed the logic directly here. You can embed the logic directly here. So this makes faster interactions. You can configure the logic directly here. For example, suppose that means DOM manipulations will be reduced. So no much DOM manipulation required. DOM reference required actually. No much DOM reference required. No much DOM reference required. You don't need much DOM reference. That is one problem important. That means, for example, suppose we want to access a value. Suppose we have a div. Inside the div, I want to display something. Usually what we have to do, we need an ID for the div. We need to access the div by using the ID and get the logic and display here. But what now we can do in React is, Directly here we can embed the logic and we can present some functionality, some logic here. That means it can directly interact with the UI. It can execute the functions in the UI and return the results. This looks better. That means it will be more better in performance. Another advantage is React is component based, same like Angular, component based. The advantage of this is, so it is more asynchronous. Asynchronous means only what is needed for the situation it will load. It will improve the performance of application. It makes the library more modular. So, and very important is library which is required for that situation, only that library will be loaded. Everything will not be loaded. That is the great advantage about component based architecture, which is already there in Angular also. But Angular is decoupled from DOM manipulations. React works with DOM, but it will not work on actual DOM. It works on virtual DOM, in virtual DOM. So React have some problems also. The main concerns of React is, one of the main issue with the React is very high pace of development. So React issues are very high pace development. That means pace development. High pace development means, now which version of Angular we used? Which version of Angular we used? Tell me. Which version of Angular we learnt? We used Angular. Which version of Angular we used? 11. Angular we used 11, right? We used Angular 11, right? Actually, Angular was introduced in 2014 and we have 11 version now in 2021, right? And React introduced, this is Angular. React introduced in the year. Initial release was in a different year, right? Because already I told you that it was initially designed by Facebook. Initial release happened in 2013, and now the latest version in 2020 up to 2020 December, it is 17. That means so many changes happening, very fast changes. That means every few months, every month, every 2-3 months, a new version comes immediate. Then developers cannot catch that. Developers cannot catch that pace of development, because every few months some new things will come. It is very difficult for a developer to catch the update. That means problem for developers to catch and update the pace of developing features. Another problem is it have a poor documentation. The problem is, if you have to refer anything related to React, any previous version, next version, so community don't have a correct documentation. That means, so we cannot say that go here, you will get correct entire information about React. That means if anybody asks, is in this version this option is available or not, then we have to tell him that once check, I have doubt in that, I don't know properly. That means there is no correct documentation for every version, because every 1 month one new version comes, means who will prepare a documentation for it? That means developers reference will be very problem, right? Developers cannot easily refer to the issues. They have to struggle a lot in handling the issues, right? But still, because of its faster abilities, we are using it. But it has a problem in documentation. It has a problem in poor SEO also, search engine optimization. Because if everything is presented and handled in UI, SEO becomes very complicated. That means the websites that are built with React have poor SEO. We have to take a lot of other precautions to handle SEO. So, and we are using JSX actually. JSX is nothing but presentation and logic. Presentation and logic present at same place. This is insecure. Insecure means it is insecure. It is not secured. So presentation and logic are present at one place, that is not secure. Presentation and logic are present at one place, it is not secure. Why? Because so anyone can easily hack your contents. You have to take a lot of precautions. We generally call them as cross-site scripting attack. We need external libraries to handle various interactions. So these are all the problems. These are all the problems with React, right? So that is the reason. So React is not great for every type of application, but React is great for UI, user interface. That means suppose you want to build a good UI, only UI you are concentrating in a web application, then you can go with React. But I want to build a separate application client side. Separate application client side. I want to build a separate application client side. If we want to build separate application client side, then we can go with Angular because Angular gives a separate application client side. Suppose if already application is there, you want to build good UI, then you can go with React. That is actual intention. Right? So this is the basic concept of React. That means if anyone asks, do I need to learn React or Angular? Which one is best? There is nothing like that. For experienced people, they ask both. For experienced people, they ask both knowledge of React as well as they will ask knowledge of Angular also. That's the reason, depending on the project. Some projects requires React, some projects requires Angular. Suppose you see as a full stack developer, generally, suppose you have a Naukri site. So in the Naukri site, if we are searching for some Java .NET full stack developer, when I search for Java full stack developer or something, roles like this, you can observe that in the Java full stack developer, .NET full stack developer, you can see some companies, they will ask for both. You can see some companies ask for React. Some companies are asking for React, right? Some companies are asking for React. And you can see that some companies will ask for Angular. So some companies ask both of them, React and Angular, they will ask. You see some companies ask for Angular. So some companies ask for React, some companies, you can see they ask React JS and Angular, both of them. Because these days full stack developer means he must know both library and framework. There is nothing like which one is good. They need to learn both because in some projects they use React, in some projects they use Angular. So sometimes people ask, like, can I use both Angular and React? You can use both Angular and React, right? You can integrate a combination of that. But we don't prefer. Once we are building an application with Angular, we completely depend on Angular. Once we are designing with React, we completely depending on React, right? Now we will see today how to create a React.js application and how we can start working with React.js application. The basic IDE, whatever required for creating a React application. For that, what you have to do is to create a React.js application. The basic architecture I will explain, how to handle that, we will discuss about it. To create React.js application, first everything ready for us because set up and install React to set up and install or to set up and create React application, there are two techniques. First, you have to download and install Node.js. Install Node.js. Already we have, no need to worry about that. Already Node.js is installed. Now there are two techniques. You can use React.js in existing application. You can use React.js in existing application. That means your existing HTML application. So, or you can create a separate React application. You can create a separate React application, or you can use React in existing application. So we will see both techniques. First, so we will create a separate React application. We will see how to create a separate React application. Actually, to create a separate React application, so what we have to do is, we have to simply we have to install a library. What the library we have to install? So you have to download. So download and install. Download and install. So you have to install npm install -g create React app. You have to download this library. Create React app. This library is required. You have to create this and configure it. This library is required. So once this is there, now you can start working with that. So once it is there, you can start working with this. So that means you have to create a React application, and for that you can add this create React app. Actually, there is another command also. So that command we can use for creating a React application and configuring the React application. We can use a shortcut also. First, I will show you. First, we will install npm install -g create React app. After installing create React app, what you have to do is you need to create an application now. We have to create an application. So let's see how to create an application. First, go to the project in our computer. So let's go and create a new folder, React project. Okay, that is a folder, React project. Okay, in this folder, open this folder in command prompt. This is a React project. Here, first you make sure that npm install -g create React app. You have to install create React app. You download and install this create React app library. So I'm downloading and installing that create React app library. Yeah. Once it is installed, now we have to create an app. To create an application, we have to run the command create React app and any application name. Suppose I given the application name some Amazon. That is the application name. So you have to run the command create React app. Which application name? Amazon is the application name. And hit enter. And now it creates a project for you. So it is creating a React application for you. It is downloading and installing all the library that you need. Whatever the library that is required, it is downloading and installing that library. So you can open that in Visual Studio Code to see the infrastructure. All right. So what you have to do, download this, then create React app and say application name. So this is app name. You have to define the app name. Any name you can give for the app. Anywhere you can create your application. Right? This will create an application for you. Once the application is created, we can see the infrastructure, what it contains. So we will see the infrastructure, what it contains. It will take a little while. Why? Because it has to download all the libraries required for React. It will take some time to download all the libraries. You should not ask which is the latest LTS version. You should ask LTS is different and latest is different. LTS is long-term support. The latest version, as I already told you, 17 is the latest version. 17 is the latest version. That's what we are using also.
ନା ବାପା ଏଇଭଳିଆ ମୁହଁ ବଢଉଛନ୍ତି। ହଁ ହଁ ହଉ ଦିଅ ତମେ ଦିଅ। ଦଉନ ଆହୁରି ଦଉନ, ତମକୁ କିଏ ମନା କରୁଛି ଦବା ପାଇଁ? ମୁଁ ଭାଇ କହୁଛି ଫୋନ କରିକି।
Yep, so it's taking a little while, but meanwhile time you can see we will open that location. So open the folder location where the project is created in our Visual Studio Code. So that is the React project. React project is the location. And in that location you can see this Amazon is created. That is the project that we are creating, but still it is having some libraries installed by default. So you can see this Amazon contains node modules, and some folders are installed here. Now still the file structure is not created. Once installation successful, then it will create the basic file structure. So basic file structure. So it configures that structure, and in that it will keep all the projects whatever we want. It will keep everything. By default, the basic files you know already. What are the basic files? Generally, you know the node modules and you know package JSON. These files are common, right? Okay, so it is finishing up installing everything. So that is done. So successfully added. Once it is successfully installed, everything is successfully configured. Okay, done. Once it is successfully created, the project is successfully created, and you can see lot of files and folders are present. Generally, what is the purpose of this? We will see a simple one. Node modules contains all the library that we already know. Public contains. So usually all the static and non-static files. Actually, public comprises of static and non-static files. Usually, this public comprises of all static files. And generally, you can keep non-static but not recommended. Public is for all static files. It is for all static files like HTML, images. So you can keep like text files, help document, everything is present inside the public folder. Okay. SRC contains all dynamic files like JavaScript files, CSS files, everything present inside SRC. So project related static files are in public folder and others are in SRC. Package lock JSON, package JSON already we know. Read is nothing but it is help document. Okay. After the project is created, how to start the project? We will see. Open the terminal. In the terminal, CD Amazon. It will change to that Amazon. It will change to that Amazon. And here we have to run the command npm start. npm start. This npm start is used to start your project. When I hit npm start, now we will see how it starts also architecturally. When I say npm start, you can see that the project compiles, and once the project is compiled, it will show what is the port number and IP address where it is currently running. So it is starting the development server, and usually the development server, and it will launch the browser, and in the browser it will be localhost 3000. So once it is successfully compiled, now it will show the initial screen. Now this is ready. This is our React project. Now from where this screen is coming, how do we handle the logic for this? We need to understand. For that we need to learn the architecture of React application. Actually, remember this app.js, actually the initial screen is index.html. It is coming from public folder. You have index.html. But index.html gets all the logic. It gets all the logic from a file called, app.js. So we have to go to app.js. It is present in SRC. We have to go to app.js and make changes which will be reflected in index.html. How the architecture works, I will tell you. First, if I want to make some changes in the initial screen, then let's go to the SRC app.js. In app.js, you can see this is the logic. Why that logic is written like that, I will tell you. Here there is so much HTML header. Now below the header, I will put a heading and I will keep here as Amazon shopping. So I keep a heading as Amazon shopping and save this. And you can see those changes are updated, and it has to get that Amazon shopping in display. That means it has to get that Amazon shopping in display. So this is header, and I need to get that in display. Anywhere you want, you can keep that. That means I want to keep this inside the header itself. So inside the header, so here instead of learn React, I will give this Amazon shopping. Then it will get that Amazon shopping here. So this is the basic startup, but we have to learn how this page is designed, how to create React pages, how to configure the pages and render them. That means we need to understand the architecture first. So how to design a simple application and how do we render it, right? That we will see in our next session, right? Tomorrow we will discuss about that, right? So tomorrow, first you create a React application. Then tomorrow we are going to work with that React application. We will see how to build the UI and how do we create the UI and interact with the API services here. What are the options required for interacting and configuring? That we will see in our next session, right? Same tomorrow also, same join at 9:30. Okay.